On the and go, Mark.
All righty, everybody, welcome to the April Olympic District Roundtable. Please put your name and your contact information in the chat. That is how I will give your unit credit for being at this or attending this roundtable. All right, Mike, go.
We'll start off with the pledge as a
Can't hear it.
And Michael, make sure you share audio and video.
Share audio.
You may need to stop sharing and start sharing again.
I did check audio and I did that.
Sound coming through this time?
No.
I've shared computer audio. I don't know.
Can we do it? Yeah, we can do it. Here, I'll leave it. Oh, here, we'll let our new DD do it. Oh!
Scott, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, I'm doing all of this.
I was gonna say, on my honor,
On my
I will
honor,
do my best to do my duty to guide my country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Scout law. The scout is
Trustworthy, loyal, friendly,
courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
2.
All right, for hot topic announcements, we have the new Olympic District Executive, Tyler Klein. We have the new Olympic District Committee Chair, Matt McCrone.
Roundtable.
New Olympic District Commissioner, John Spielberg. And the Olympic District Committee functioning committee chairs are Fund Development is Scott Smith, membership is Mark Daniel Brazel. Olympic District Vice Chair and Program Chair is Sean Thomas. Camping Chair is Jeff Kasnick. Activity and Civil Service Chair is Casey Grove. Training Chair is Tiffany Hooper. And Advancement and Recognition Chair is Katie Bastine and Lisa Blankenship. Katie is also the nominee chair. The changes in registration fees beginning May 1st. The $25 joining fee is gone on April 1st, but there is a $5 increase on youth and adult registrations. Get registered for Cub Scout resident camp at Camp Thunderbird. There are 3 sessions in July, all Thursday through Sunday. Trailblazer camp is a single session, usually for first year Scout BSA youth. As summer approaches, now is the time to get your medical forms done. Any event under 72 hours only requires part A and B. Over 72 hours requires part C by a licensed practitioner. We are still looking for cooks for camp. So if you want to be a camp cook this summer, please let us know. The upcoming roundtables, next month is gonna be Cub Scout breakout room with the new Cub Scout program. Scout BSA breakout room is gonna be Life to Eagle Scout with Katie Basteen. Crew and Sea Scout breakout room is going to be crews and troops working advancements together. And members working for Eagle Scout. June is gonna be Scout Book and Internet Advancement and how to orientate it. July is gonna be fundraising. August is gonna be about Order of the Arrow and what it is and the requirements needed and the election process. September is gonna be about recharter. October will be leadership, training, and training needs for each activity and where to take them. November is gonna be community relations, and December will be Dutch oven cook-off and a Christmas party.
Or Hanukkah if you're Jewish.
Yes.
A holiday
Or,
party, right?
Whatever cleanses.
Yeah, it's gonna be a party.
It's a party.
April 27th, 28th, we're having the OA Vigil weekend. April 27th is the Olympic District Pinewood Derby. May 10th through 11th is Baloo training. May 11th is Eagle Advancement training. May 11th also is Portland Aviation Day. May 7th through 19th is Wood Badge Session 1. May 19th is Pacific Harbor Council Outdoor Ethics and Conversation Meeting. May 25th to 26th is Wood Badge Session 2. May 31st through to June 2nd is the Cub Scout Day Camp in Tacoma. June 1st through August 31st is Pacific Harbor Council 5-mile Scout Trek. Begins on June 1st and ends on August 31st. Register on the council website. June 1st is Seattle Aviation Day. June 6th through 7th is Wilderness First Aid. June 16th is the Pacific Harbor Council Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Meeting. Camp Thunderbird Cub Scout Summer Camp 2004, Session 1 is July 11th through the 14th. Session 2 is July 18th through the 21st. Session 3 is July 25th through the 28th. Camp Thunderbird Trailblazer Scout VSA Camp is July 31st through August 4th. We are still looking for camp staff. July 29th through August 3rd is Order of the Arrow NOAC. August 7th is the Take Play Classic. August 24th is the Commissioner Basic Training. And August 24th is also Scout Night at the Tacoma Rainiers. All right, Mike, can you share the safety moment, please?
Yep.
So this month, we're gonna talk, safety moment's gonna be about Boy Scouts of America incident reporting. At the Boy Scouts of America, the safety and well-being of our members are of paramount importance. We are dedicated to maintaining and secure environment where scouts, leaders, and volunteers can engage in enriching scouting experience with confidence. By reporting an incident in scouting, you play a crucial role in maintaining the safety and well-being of the Boy Scouts of America community. Timely, clear, concise, and thorough incident reports enable a fitting response and provide an opportunity for analysis and continuous improvement in our programs. Your commitment, whether as a parent, leader, volunteer, or scout, to promptly report incidents is essential in upholding the core values of preparedness, responsibility, and integrity that define scouting. The resources, the incident reporting tools, the incident information tools used are on myscouting.org and also on the VSA website. Step one is the immediate safety. Step two is grasp the full situation. Step three, document your incidents thoroughly. And step four, notify the local council. And step five is also follow-up care. The membership moment. Can you play the membership moment, Mike?
Yep.
The membership moment this month is gonna be about the first 5 years of young woman in scouting.
My bad. Thought I had it pulled up. I think I closed it by accident. I got you. Hold on. Technical difficulties.
More operator.
Yeah, yeah, that's about right. You got me. As soon as my staff gets in, I'll make sure they get on this. Yeah, it's not coming through on sound, buddy.
Give me a second, dude. Sorry, technical difficulties.
My oldest son had gotten into Cub Scouts. He was having a lot of fun. My daughter's like, hey, Dad, I want to do something like that.
Last Sunday in Portland, Oregon, a new group of Boy Scouts marched off in search of adventure.
There was not many troops forming in the more rural areas, so it was hard to find her troop.
2019 comes around and these girls are ready to join a troop. They're 11. They're done with their Aerovly, and there were no girls' troops yet. So we talked to several other units and decided the best option was to start our own troop. The 5 that were ready to bridge over brought 2 friends with them. So we started with 7, and now we have...
Unofficially, I've been scouting since I was a little girl. My dad has always been big into scouts, and so he was the Cub Master back in my hometown, and my brothers were Cubs as well, and so I would just tag along with them whenever we went out.
When they're coming up 5th grade year, 4th grade year, their personalities are just developing. And I think it's really important for them to see other kids their age, maybe a little bit older contemporaries, and how independent they are.
After Weebelows, you get to do more of the fun stuff. Cooking, building, archery, and do a lot of outdoor stuff. I think it's all the activities.
I've been to Merriweather before, and I really like this camp. I think it went pretty well. The food was actually surprisingly good, and some of the crafts they have cooking, and that's pretty good too. I didn't think they were going to like it as much as they did.
How will girls in Scouts BSA change the scouting experience? Boys in scouting stay in an all-boy troop. New troops are being formed for girls. So girls lead their troops and boys lead their troops. The real genius of scouting is the leadership opportunities it provides. Sure, there's the adventure, the camping, and the skills, but the opportunity to lead a patrol or a troop, that's special.
We just formed our troop this year, and with the help of the district executive, we were able to charter with a local Kiwanis club.
Honestly, I like having a boys troop and a girls troop together. I think it makes it a lot easier on families like mine, where now my youngest daughter just joined the girls troop in the past 6 months. And it's nice to know the whole family's involved with the couple of troops.
These 2 troops together shared meals. So instead of smaller campouts during the year where you might do smaller either 2-person cooking or patrol cooking, in this case our troops doled it out in big portions and we worked together as a big giant group. They got to work together as a crew.
When I heard the girls were allowed in February 2019, I was ecstatic. So it started out of 2 girls in our troop with 40, 50 boys. But I learned a lot, and over the flip of a coin, because there were 2 people in our troop, I became SPL, and they made me do flag at the ripe age of 13. But ever since that, it's so much good leadership opportunities and so much fun and so much learning.
I haven't really always been a leader, but Scouts has definitely taught me a lot.
It was
Yeah,
that could be the new merit badge.
They've already got one. A couple of them.
There's a couple like it, yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Merit badges aren't required for gold.
Unless you're gonna counsel it.
Don't look at me, I've been trying to get the wilderness survival and people required merit badge for years.
We've even done this before.
We had John sit down. John Spielberg, the district commissioner, will be our primary speaker tonight on the commission on commissioners and why and how they can help your unit.
All right, So, good evening, everybody. You have heard my voice many times, but now you get to hear it again. So, enjoy. I know.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep. All right, so everybody should see my fancy dancy slide deck there now, right? Thumbs up if you can see it. Well, I know you guys can. Anybody? Andrew, can you see it? All right, cool. All right, so what we're going to talk about tonight is what is a commissioner and how can commissioners help you promote and grow scouting in your communities, all right? So first question is, what are commissioners and why should I care? Because, you know, it sounds like a fancy dancy term, right? And if you don't know what a commissioner is, you know, you're probably thinking to yourself, why do I care what a commissioner is? Well, commissioner, a little bit of a very brief, short history, but commissioners trace their lineage back to the earliest days of scouting. Baden Powell utilized commissioners in the UK to help promote and grow new and existing scouting units throughout the UK by recruiting these rich lords who were hanging around and didn't have anything else to do all day. So he was like, hey, you're not working. You don't have a job. Why don't you help me grow scouting in our country? So that's what commissioners started as after that in the UK. So that's why commissioners are volunteers, right? So, and if you look on, you know, like a commissioner patch, we have what's called the wreath of service. It's something like this. So this is also the same wreath that you see that all of the professional commissioned scouters wear as well, like the district executives, all the way up to the chief scout executive, right? All of the executives and all the commissioners have this to symbolize our commitment to serving serving. So, first and foremost, the commissioners are your friends. So commissioners are here to help you answer your questions, to help, you know, give you ideas for program, to help give you fundraising ideas, to help answer any questions you might have, and also to provide helpful hints in case you are struggling with trying to figure out what you want to do in your unit, or if you're having issues, personality conflicts, you know, where we have, you know, leaders who are fighting and the key three can't get involved because they're also fighting, and we need an impartial party. That's one of the things that commissioners do often. Commissioners are district and or council level volunteers who are here to help you have a successful program in scouting. So whatever it is you think, if you guys are sitting around with a bunch of vendors or sitting around with a bunch of ASMs, and you're just, you know, trying to come up with ideas, you know, that is a good example of a time where you should call your commissioner to provide support. The commissioners are the link between the individual units and the district and council. So, you know, as opposed to the district committee that provides, you know, a little bit more indirect support to units, commissioners are that direct support to units. And commissioners are a resource for you. I know you guys can see me, but it's okay. You don't need to see me. You can hear me. All right. So what makes a commissioner different from a professional scouter or a district committee member? So commission, like I said, I already talked about that, but the commissioners trace their lineage back to the earliest days of scouting. And in fact, I guess I could bring it back a little more relevant to the US. Back in the earliest days of scouting in the United States, somebody would say, hey, I want to start a Boy Scout troop, and I'm here in Des Moines, Iowa, right? So they start a troop, and then somebody else says, hey, I also want to start a troop in Des Moines, and so a couple troops. And then eventually they would appoint a commissioner. And if they could raise enough money, they would say, hey, Mr. Commissioner, we're going to pay you to support scouting in this area. And that is how the councils started to be formed around the US. for the first 20, 30 years or so of scouting in the United States, all of the units were directly chartered through the national office in New York. They were not chartered by individual councils initially. So that's your little fun fact. There's lots of good books on the history of scouting out there if you want to learn more. But you may notice our district and our council, we currently have 2 DEs, an assistant scout executive and a scout executive. So we have 4 professional scouters dedicated to unit support. And we have, at last count, about 140 some units, give or take. So as you can tell, that is a lot for 4 people to try and support. So that is why commissioners are here to help provide the support, to supplement the executives who can't be everywhere at once. So that's one of the things we do to help. So we do a lot of things that the executives do as well. Like I said, commissioners are tasked with working directly with you, whereas usually the district committee members will have a less hands-on approach to their the units. So all right, so there's a lot of different kinds of commissioners, right? Mark is an assistant district commissioner. We also have Mary, who is a roundtable commissioner. We also have roundtable commissioners. We have me, the district commissioner. We have assistant council commissioners, and then we also have the council commissioner. So we all have fancy little patches like this. See, look at all these cool patches. Look at how cool it is. And basically, the more gold you have on your commissioner patch, the closer you are to direct unit support. The more silver you have in your commissioner patch, the more of a administrative role you have in the commissioner corps. So that's why the council commissioner has all silver and no gold, whereas I, as district commissioner, have a little bit of gold, but mostly silver. And that's why the roundtable commissioners have a little bit of silver, but mostly gold. But basically, so the unit commissioners are working directly with the units. Roundtable commissioners are tasked with supporting roundtable, and assistant district commissioners do whatever I need them to do. So Mark is our assistant district commissioner for roundtable. So he coordinates roundtable and runs roundtable. We also you can also have roundtable assistant district commissioners who are responsible for a series of unit commissioners or responsible for specific program levels. So like we could have a assistant district commissioner who is in charge of Scouts BSA, or one that's in charge of Cub Scouts, or whatever. Or I could say, well, this is the assistant district commissioner for Thurston County, and they're helping support all the units in Thurston County, or something like that. And then as a district commissioner, I am responsible for picking and recruiting all the commissioners below me and supporting all the commissioners below me and making sure they have the support they need. And so if they have it, and also if they have an issue that is above their scope and their ability to handle, then I can intercede. And then assistant council commissioners help the council commissioner with whatever they need. So we might have, so for example, in our council, we have some assistant council commissioners who are in charge. One of them is in charge of like awards. We have one who's in charge of training. We could also have ones that are also supervising roundtable. We have one for roundtable, I should say. And then at the tippy top, we have the council commission. Right, and that's for those of you who don't know, that is Bob Tice. And that's that. And if you guys do have any questions, feel free to unmute and holler or raise your hand or both. Yes.
Is there a term limit for the uppers?
To a certain degree, yes. So, for example, for the council commissioner, they may serve, according to our council bylaws, they may serve 2 consecutive 3-year terms, at which time they need to be replaced. Most
9 years total.
6 years total.
6 years. Oh, 3. I thought
you said 2 consecutive
3 years.
terms.
Gotcha.
Okay. But most of our council commissioners usually only serve 1 3-year term, and then they're like, nope, I'm out. And then they step down.
They've expelled all their energy.
Right. Whereas the district commissioners, there is not an official limit. And the district commissioners, because there's more of us, they kind of shuffle around a little more. But we don't have, but in our council, we don't have like hard, fast rules for when those are. Also, so all the commissioners that are in the council are commissioned by the authority from the Scott executive and upon the recommendation of the council commissioner. So all the commissioners that we appoint or nominate or whatever have to be approved by the council commissioner, who then tells Andrew to say, yeah, they can be a commissioner. So yeah. So here's an example org chart that I wanted to kind of show you guys of. This is kind of like an example. This is not our district because I don't have that many commissioners, but this would be an example of if we had a lot of commissioners, what we could do. So we could have an ADC for Roundtable. We could have an ADC for units at risk. This would be somebody who's like, oh man, for like, we'll talk a little bit more about commissioner assessments a little bit later, but if we have a lot of units that are scoring really low on their assessments, this ADC would work with the unit commissioners for that unit for that are with those lower assessment scores. And then you could also have an ADC that supervises a bunch of other ADCs who then also supervise unit commissioners. You could also have an ADC for charter renewal, one for training, and one for recruiting. So this is an example of what it looks like moving up to the council commissioner level. So we have the council commissioner, and then we have these are some different possible areas you could have for assistant council commissioners.
There's a question.
Yes.
Can you tell? It says, can you tell us about a unit assessments? What do they entail?
Oh yes, yes. I will get to the unit assessments a little bit later. But I do appreciate you jumping in. I do have some slides about unit, talking specifically about unit assessments. So
I can see the chat.
I can also see the chat. Yeah. All right. And then so that's just kind of like an example of what we could do for like the council. What that's called the council commissioner cabinet. So you'll see there's a box there for me as the district commissioner. So I sit on the council commissioner cabinet. I also kind of sit on the council board as a non-voting observing sort of member representing the district. And then yeah, and then basically they're kind of similar to the levels that we have at the district level. All right, so diving into what commissioners kind of do to help units. So we have a feature in My.Scouting called Commissioner Tools. So these are things that allows us to see certain things in a unit. We can see how many kids are in the unit, how much advancement they've been doing, nights, camped, hiking, all sorts of fun things. So I took some screenshots out of Commissioner Tools. So this is what it looks like when I log in to My.Scouting and I go to the Commissioner Tools tab. So you'll see I can click on the units here. I can track roundtables. I can see my profile, which isn't very useful. The administration is where I could assign either commissioners to units, or I could assign units to commissioners. There's different reports I can run to see different scores and things like that. So in the middle here, you'll see this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the homepage. So this is the number of commissioners we have. This is the number of commissioners that are unassigned. That means they don't have a unit assigned to them. But that's people like, I think that's specifically right now, it's just Mark and Mary, because they are roundtable commissioners, and roundtable commissioners are not typically assigned a unit because they're not working with the units directly. And then you'll see here, so we have 53 units currently. Soon, hopefully we'll have 54. And we'll be back to our 2023 numbers. But you will see that, so we have 33 units that have assigned commissioners to them, and we have 20 units that do not have an assigned commissioner. Mostly because I've only got 11 commissioners, and that includes me, by the way. So we're a little bit spread thin. The national guidelines say that as a commissioner, you should never have more than about 3 to 5 units assigned, preferably 3. So I also, and now this is what it looks like when I go to a units page. I picked Mark's. I know Mark wouldn't care if I was picking on his pack. And it was kind of hard to see because I was having a hard time fitting it on the slide. But so if I go to a unit, I can see. All right, so here's where I can see all the key leaders for the unit. If I click on those names, which I can in this because it's a screenshot, but if I click on the names, it'll pull up the contact information for those folks. So it would show me their phone numbers, their emails, so I can get a hold of them if I need to. It'll also show me their meeting location as they set it on their Be a Scout pin. So hopefully you guys are updating your Be a Scout pin so that way folks know where you're meeting. Over here, it'll show unit contacts. So this is kind of where we get into the unit assessments a little bit. Essentially, a unit assessment is basically just a evaluation. It's not meant to be punitive or anything like that, but it's just an evaluation of where a unit is at. So I want to back up just a sec, but if you see over here on our average, over here where it says average score, this is the average score 1 out of 5 of all of our units in the district. I should say not the council, just the district. So, and then it also will say 71.7% of units with simple assessments. So that means that we have visited about 71.7% of all the units in the district this year, which is really good. Because last year, I think we only got to like 50%, but that's because somebody went and called every single unit in the district. It was Mark. You guys can't see me pointing on Zoom, but it was Mark. But anyway, and then it will also show Roundtable. This is where you can see, so we can see Roundtable. This is also, hopefully this looks familiar to those of you that are key 3 in your unit, because this is the same thing that shows up on your unit dashboard as a key 3 member. So
Is that how many members are showing up?
Yes.
Yes.
On the roundtable, it says it'll show you how many members you had attend the last roundtable.
Yeah. And because this question has come up a little bit recently, but basically the way we track the roundtable attendance, we don't necessarily, the system doesn't really give us the option to track who is showing up from each unit. It just gives us a spot to say, this is how many people showed up from each unit. So, and then if I scroll down a little bit, this is what the page continues to look like. So I can see the number of kids broken down by gender. I don't know how accurate this little bit here is. I don't think it's super accurate about the number of you last year versus this time last year, this year versus this time last year. I don't think it's super duper accurate. But the bits that I look at mostly are in this section here.
It's pretty close.
Looking for advancement. So it'll show how many kids, and for Cub Scouts, it'll show how many kids are at each rank. And Scouts BSA, it will also show how many youth are at each rank. And it will also show like how many ranks have been earned this year. So I can see like, oh, hey.
John?
Yes.
What does MTD stand for?
Month to date.
Got it. Okay.
That means how many ranks they've earned this month.
Okay.
Cub Scouts is a little more tricky because they only rank up once per year. But Scouts BSA, they might rank up more than once.
I was gonna say, how different does ours look? Because it would look a lot different.
Yeah. So in a troop, you would see a more month to date. And that would basically be whenever you pulled this report from today. And then these little cloud looking guys here, I can click those and it'll show me a little PDF that I could take to a unit and say, hey, I was looking at your unit before I came to visit you guys today, and I was seeing this is how you're doing.
And when I looked at it from the Cub Scout side, you'll see a lot of them in February when the blue and gold happens.
Right. Oh yeah. And that's very common.
Yeah.
February or June. That's most of the time when the youth are ranking up in Cub Scouts. So I can also see if you guys have been logging or if units have been logging campouts. I can see how many nights camping they have and how many scouts have been participating. Don't feel bad. Most people don't log these, so.
I was gonna say, you could pull it up if you want.
I just don't want to pick on people.
Well,
But I
I'm
know
telling
I
you, you
was
can
picking
show
on-
an example.
I was picking on Mark. But
Mine would be a Scouts PSA side.
It also shows how many hikes they have done and how many scouts participated. Same with service projects. I can see this is one of the things I look at if I'm getting ready to visit a new unit, because I want to see like how they're doing with the program. Or if it's a unit that we haven't seen in a while, we haven't seen come to any district events, or none of us have been able to get a call back from. I can go on the dashboard and see, oh hey, look, they're doing fine. The kids are ranking up. They're doing projects, and things are it's okay. This is not a unit that I'm like, oh, you have like five kids. You have 5 kids, and nobody's ranked up in 2 years. Ooh, that's bad. That's a bad problem.
Okay, one more question, John. I mean, obviously, as a cub master, I know the answer, but just for everyone else, so you can add service projects and hikes
You sure
onto
can.
Scoutbook?
Well, sort of.
Through internet.
Yeah. So I say this as also an advancement chair myself for a new venturing crew. I finally figured out how to do this because I couldn't figure it out for a long time. But basically, yeah, you can log these things if you create events in internet advancement, which is not the same website as Scoutbook.
But it takes you to it.
But it does, but it all uses the same login. And everything. So I could do a whole other class about IT stuff for scouting, but basically
that's a different class, but
but basically
zero, even if that's not the case. Okay.
Yeah. The short answer is there are 3 different websites that scouting uses that all use your same login. That there's the My.Scouting, which is where this is. There's Scoutbook. And then there is internet advancement, which is where you guys, I'm assuming most of you know where it is because that's where you do recharter. So many of you probably know of it at least.
It's transitioning too.
I anticipate in the next couple of years, we'll probably see more utilization of internet advancement and less of Scoutbook, because Scoutbook is a different thing. But I digress. I can talk about Scoutbook a lot if you wanted, but today is not that big. So, but since the question came up and you guys were probably getting maybe a little anxious when you heard me say commissioner assessments, because you're like, wait, I thought you said you're my friend. Why are you coming in here and judging me? How dare you judge me? That's not the point of an assessment is. The point of an assessment is not to judge you. The point of an assessment is to gauge where you guys are at and to identify areas of success and areas of improvement. So think of it, a commissioner assessment as me doing an SSC on you as a unit. So there's 2 different kinds of assessments. There's a simple assessment where basically I assign a point score 1 through 5, or there's detailed assessment, which is basically we take the detailed assessment is a form that I have as a commissioner that looks just like your JTE form. So I take this form, it's the same information. So I go down this detailed assessment and we go through all the objectives for JTE basically. And we talk about areas of how you're going to get to a good score in JTE for all the areas. And then we can also do I could do what's called a unit service plan, which is this is a project that you as a unit are going to work on to improve an area of the program, whether it's in youth retention, youth recruitment, adult leadership, adult training. It covers all the things of JTE. So essentially what we're looking for is, with the detailed assessment, is getting you guys to help navigate you through JTE without you guys having to think about it much. So National says that I should do detailed assessments on a unit, on all my assigned units, of which I have 6. Several. There's some linked ones in there, so it's not as bad as it sounds. But they say I should do 2 detailed assessments per year, per unit. We, as a commissioner corps for the council, have decided that we're just going to shoot for 1. We're going to shoot for 1 per unit per year. So that's kind of our personal goal. So an example of kind of what these assessments look like is not showing up. that.
So he gets to verbally tell you.
That's fine, whatever. If you guys want to see, I don't want to, I think I'm getting close to time, so I don't want to drag it on too much longer, but if you guys want to see an assessment, give me a thumbs up. Anybody? Anybody?
Kitty wants to see.
Oh, Andrew wants to see one too.
Okay,
You're
good. There,
killing me,
2 for
Smalls.
1.
Killing me,
I want to know
Smalls.
what you're looking for when you come. I'm
I
just
knew Andrew
curious.
was gonna say yes.
All right.
I mean, you want to know, right? Like,
Yeah, it's probably easier to do this anyway.
I mean, I
instead
kind of know what's
um,
in JTE, but
It's probably easier to do it this way anyway, instead of on the slide deck, just because it won't fit on the slide deck. All right, anyway, so I'm gonna log. I gotta log into my house guy. But since we're gonna pick on, since Katie wants me to pick on her, I'll pick on Katie's unit.
sure, why not?
If my house guy lets
You
me
were
go.
just there, actually, right?
I know.
So,
I just did.
did
an
you do an assessment?
I did.
Alrighty.
I did it on my phone.
I was wondering. I was like, he's awfully paying attention to what's going on here. No, just kidding.
Well, that's also what I do every time. The first time I visit.
I
you.
wondered. I was
Anyway.
going to ask later, but I was like,
Anyway, all right. So I gotta go over here to my commissioner tools.
no judging on the other side of the computer there.
All right. So I'm gonna go to view units.
Let's see what my unit looks like.
And then we're gonna go. I know. You gotta build these things. All right. So in fact, yeah, you'll see all sorts of assessments that we've done on your unit this year. There's the one I did, the one that Matt did on the 16th.
Interesting.
There's one in February. No, I read these. It's fine. It's just basically we talk about with the simple assessments is I just put down notes of like what we talked about and what you guys are doing that meeting. So like, I'll pull up my assessment. This is the assessment I did. Don't feel bad. I never give out 5s. So
Good to know.
I never give out 5s. so this is what a simple assessment looks like after I finish one. So 1 is real bad. 5 is perfect. I don't give out 5s because nobody's perfect, but that's just and you'll see in my comments. I'll make it a little bit bigger so it's a little easier to see for everybody. There we go. How about that? So I will talk about, I attended the unit meeting. I presented some voice awards to people. The kids were talking about fishing and well-attended meeting by both troops. And I also copy and pasted this to an assessment for the boys troop as well, because that's what I do for Lynx troops. I do assessments for both of them at the same time. What's that?
I can live with it.
All right.
I was gonna, do you have access to that other page that you were showing from the Cub side too?
What was that?
In this same thing, is that where you see the Cub information?
Oh,
that you were
yeah.
showing?
Yeah, so like since we're in here, if you want to see what your troop looks like, I mean, you can also have access to this too.
I wasn't sure which parts. I know some of it I do, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think the unit contacts probably don't show up for you, but the roundtable attendance will, the training reports will. This is all the kids, your advancement. So you gave a first class this month, it looks like. See?
Yes, we did.
And then you got 1 merit badge this month, it looks like. And then, but you've done 40 merit badges year to date, and then all these ranks year to date.
And the hikes are in there too, they should be.
And then you'll see all the camp outs the kids have done, number of kids participating. I always chuckle about this because it takes, all right, so if you have 6 kids show up to a camp out and they all camp for 1 night, that is considered 6 nights camped.
Yeah, right.
So it takes that number and multiplies it by the number of kids that show up. So
I haven't even entered April yet, so.
and then it'll show the hikes, number of kids that were there, and then we'll also show the service projects. And it also breaks up service projects by service projects and conservation hours for those that are working on conservation and awards.
Right. Good on that.
And merit badges and things. So that's what that looks like. But I wanted to show you guys what a detailed assessment looks like. So if I'm not going to do a detailed assessment right now, but we're going to just pretend to do one. I'm going to delete this so it's not going to actually.
Oh, okay. Just give me a 5 and we'll call it good.
That's not how detailed assessments work. So detailed assessments. Oh, it's like. We have never done one for you.
Oh boy.
Well, that's not surprising.
I'm only 2 years old, so like.
Yeah, I know. So it'll show me a lot of the things that you see in the commissioner tools, as far as the number of people trained. And then I would go in here and I assign a score to each one of the JTE goals. You want me to zoom in again, Kate?
No, I'm just reading the lines. Yeah, we're good. I'm a little blinder these days, but yes. it works.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll do it for the benefit of everybody. So I would assign us point score 1 through 5 for each of the program for each of these areas. I would provide comments in here of like, this is what they're doing right now. This is what their plan is. And then I do that for each of these areas for planning and budget, for membership. I've never seen that button before.
Change to
Anyway,
intermediate.
we're not gonna click that button. And then again, I would do for all of the, you'll notice these line up with JTE scores for those of you keeping track at home. And then program, again, 1 through 5, talked about how rank advancement, campaign, long-term camp, service projects, control methods. And then finally, volunteer leadership. So we got this, we got that. And then finally, I would say, all right, so what do you guys want to do for JT this year? You want to do gold? Of course you want to do gold. Anybody changing? No.
I do have one, but nobody's moving.
That's fine. Or do you have a succession plan in place? If they're changing, yes or no? Good. You should always have succession planning in place. Do they need to discuss with me? Oh. Or and this is my personal favorite and probably the most underutilized function of the detailed assessment. Is there anybody in the unit that you think would be a good unit commissioner candidate? And then it allows me to put in their name, their phone number, and an email. And then I get a little ping that says, haha, this unit says they have a good unit commissioner candidate. And then asking about the unit attendance. So, and then the next part is some priority needs. So if I saw like issues with key 3, it's not meeting, doesn't have a scoutmaster or a cupmaster. Unit has no committee. Unit has no new members. Unit has conflict with their charter org. Unit lacks new unit leaders lack orientation or training, or units with weak leadership. And then finally, it lets me create a unit service plan. So what a unit service plan looks like, this is like I said, this is something, an area of improvement that the unit wants to work on. So if it is one of the 4 areas, right? When they want to have it done by, and then when they finish it, I will say when they actually finished it. So if they said they wanted to finish it by June 1, we're going to do a recruitment event. And if they did it on April 1, I would say they did it on April 1. And then I would write in what they want to do, who's going to be in charge. That's Katie.
So my question to that is, we're scout led. So
Yeah.
who makes that, what do we want to work on decision, like for troop versus cubs,
Oh.
who might be parent or adult decided?
So the way I would do the way I do these detailed assessments is I would do it at a unit committee.
Hi.
Or with key 3. Either one.
Cool.
Depending, and then the unit, because ultimately one of those 2 is going to be doing the JTE form at the end of the year, hopefully. So, and then I can also at the end, I can also give it to the unit and show them what we talked about.
Well, Alexa, set timer for 20 minutes.
Really, it's not needed.
It's fine. As a host, I can use
you. Can either. I
can use anybody else. Don't worry, Raylene, I got you.
That's cool.
Anyway, so that's what the assessments look like. Mary, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, other Mary.
Other Mary. That makes sense. I was like, I don't know if I asked that question. Okay.
There's 2 Marys.
Yes, it was helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy to help. And if you guys ever have any questions or anything, you can all reach out to me and let me know. All right, so
do the key 3 get to see these assessments?
We can. I mean, it's not an automatic thing. I would have to share it with you, but I can. I usually like to do that with the key 3. But the key 3 obviously can always to have it shared with them, right? But you just gotta tell me if you want to see it. Or your commissioner, whoever your commissioner is.
I
if it's
think
not
you
me.
want to know if you're doing well or not, right? So that's.
I hope so. I hope they want to do. Some people don't care.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, if you have a vested interest.
But yeah, no, like I said, so that, the detailed assessment gives me an option when I fill it all out. I can check a box and it'll generate a PDF that I can then give to the, I can print off and give to the leader is. Well, it's great that you asked that, Mary. I'm glad you did. I'll show you how you can find out who your unit commissioner is. Currently, I don't believe you guys have one assigned, but
I know they don't. I got the sheet.
okay, here we go. I'll show you guys what it looks like. So let's say I'm logging in as a, you're not seeing my screen again. You silly buggers. I'll try this again. All right, so I'm logged in on my crew page where I'm a key leader, so I can show you guys what it looks like for you guys. So if I wanted to see what it looks like, I'll go here. Dashboard. That's the one. Sorry, dashboard. If you go to the dashboard, you will see underneath all the key unit leaders, it'll say commissioner. And if you have an assigned commissioner, it'll give them that. It'll give that person, and you can click on their name, and it will give you the contact information for that person. So you could come by my house if you wanted, or call me, or text me, or send me an email. I mean, good luck. My apartment building is locked up tighter than Fort Knox. So. I mean, but did that answer your question as well, there, Mary? I don't know. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can see that our unit does not have a commissioner.
Yeah, and that is not. That is something I want to work on. I would like to see every unit have a commissioner. I just I need I need more commissioners. I need more commissioners. So if you guys know of anybody who might want to be a commissioner, send them my way, and I'll bust out my commissioner recruitment spreadsheet and we can talk. I have a commissioner recruitment spreadsheet of people that I want to be commissioners. I don't share them because that's not for you guys. That's for my notes. There we go. Okay, so as we start to wrap up here. All right, so going around the horn, as I like to say, what sort of support people need, and how can I help all of you in the room and on Zoom? Did you have me?
You were just at my unit, so.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot to say. 1-800 call John.
Yeah. And I can also drop my number in the chat so you guys all can write it down. Okay. I was reading your comment there, Mary. So what you feel free to unmute yourself, Mary, but what have you tried so far to try to get more parental involvement?
Well, I currently wear 4 hats for our pack. I am the committee chair, the advancement chair, the Cub Scout coordinator, and the registrar, or the summer camp coordinator and the registrar. So at every single pack meeting, weekly meeting, I announce, hey, everybody, we need to have a succession plan because I, have a year and a half left until my youngest scout will cross over. And we talk about how important it is, how we need all these, parents, this is a volunteer-led organization, and that we need, adults to be involved. And they all kind of nod their head and say, okay, great. But then nobody actually steps up.
So one of the things that I've observed in my almost 30 years of scouting is that one of the things that is not always super effective unless you have somebody like me in your group who jumps up and down to volunteer for things, is that when you ask a big group for help, you usually get crickets. Something that might be beneficial is we would be having a conversation with each of the parents individually to see how they would like to support you. Because sometimes being called out a little more one-on-one in private, of course, not in front of the group, but in private, having a one-on-one conversation and say, hey, I'm stepping down in a year and a half. What are you gonna do to help me with that plan? That might help. I could also, either me or I could have somebody come to one of your meetings. We could have, you could do a parent meeting as well. And we could help with that conversation as well if you would like.
Yeah, that would probably be helpful. I think part of it is probably that parents don't really have an idea about kind of what these individual responsibilities would entail. And, you know, to be honest, I never had any kind of formal introduction or training. Most of this fell in my lap when COVID happened and people kind of disappeared.
Right.
And so I think maybe having someone maybe from outside the unit kind of show up to say like, hey group, you know, this is important. If you want your scouts to be able to continue in this program, you know, one person is keeping all the balls in the air and it's not, you know, very equitable. So maybe a little bit of healthy shaming might be helpful. I don't, you know, of course we all of us are very, very busy. We all have very, you know, busy lives and activities and lots of things going on. But I am somebody who does not have any extra bandwidth to take on any more. So kind of preparing any kind of formal, you know, materials or like, this is what your responsibilities would be. You know, I don't really have that bandwidth to be able to make that happen. So I can then officially present that to people, you know, to kind of gauge their interest. Like, oh, you know, it seems like people would want like a list of these would be your, you know, your roles and responsibilities. And that would be a resource that I would find it would probably be helpful, but I am not able to pull that together.
Well, the good news is those resources already exist and we don't, neither you or I or somebody else has to make them. And I can help, I can work with you after this and I can kind of point you to the direction of where those resources exist to kind of show you. Because they actually have job descriptions for most of the excuse me, sorry, most of the scouting jobs have a job description, just like you would see, you know, if you're applying for a normal job that pays. You would have a job description of what the responsibilities are, required training, all that sort of stuff. Those things do exist, so we can help point you in the right direction for that. But I do appreciate your input and your participation, and we'll talk. All right. Does anybody else have any support that they need that I can facilitate? Okay. Oh, sorry. I got just a couple, like 2 more slides. The biggest thing that I'm working on as district commissioner is identifying folks to help fill out the commissioner quota. I need more commissioners, I need unit commissioners, and I need more people to help with Roundtable. So if you are interested in helping, please feel free to shoot me a text or email me at my contact information that I'm throwing in the slide now. In the Zoom chat, I mean. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. There. So all my contact information is there. And feel free to reach out if you are interested. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so like if you're having a problem and you don't know, like, I don't know if you guys can actually help me with that, you know? Should we still ask?
Definitely ask. Definitely ask. Because if I can't help you, I probably know somebody who can. So, you know, even if I don't, And I'm usually pretty good about Googling things really quickly before I reply to a call or text. But if I don't know an answer, I can usually point you in the direction of somebody who does. Isn't that right, Mark?
Yes, it is. John
As
answers
someone who
all my
asks me a lot of
questions.
questions, which is totally fine. I love answering questions. This is not meant to be a poo-poo on asking questions. So that's what I got. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back over to Mark and let him continue with the program. And hopefully get you guys out of here.
All righty, we are going to close.
And even if it's been a while,
After all the many miles,
you're always welcome here. And whoa, and even if life brings a change,
I know we'll be the same.
you're always welcome here. Always welcome.
I do this because I love the interaction with kids and you make friendships for life.
And whoa, always welcome, always welcome.
It's been a great experience. We've made a lot of wonderful friends. It's just a great program for kids, I think.
Cub Scouts gives you an opportunity to build relationships with people. It was just something different all the time. So it's been a really good experience to actually be a part of.
I love being able to teach the kids, watching them light up when they get something that they're frustrated about. They just are like, yay!
And even if it's been a while,
after all the many miles,
you're always welcome
here.
And even if life brings a change,
I know we'll be the same.
you're always welcome here. You're always welcome.
Stop sharing the screen.
At the very top there where it says stop share, the big red button.
The red button at the very.
All right, to close the meeting with the commissioner minute. As we talked about, tonight, unit commissioners were trying to grow the program. That's why I played that. We're always welcome. Going back to Baden Powell, and one of the things that came to my mind was when we were in Wood Badge, they told a story about him growing the oak tree and the oak tree growing and the beads going to the leaders that are trying to grow the program. So that's what, as unit commissioners, that's what we're trying to do. And that's, as commissioners, that's what we're trying to do as leaders, is grow the scouting program and instill in the youth and grow the youth, whether it's Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, Sea Scouts, or crews or posts. So that is what we're trying to do. And again, if you guys have any ideas of what you want to do for roundtables in the future, please put it in the chat. And again, please put your name and your unit in the chat so we can give your unit credit. We're gonna go into, if you guys want to network, now we're moving into the networking time. So if you want to network, we can network. If not, we can close the meeting.
If you also want some time with your DE,
Yes, if you want time with your DE, the DE is here.
If you're here in person, I have cards. Finally.
Yeah.
I'll take one, pass it on.
around. I was
You
like,
got,
oh,
you got, you got cards fast. I don't know.
snaps. I don't need this. I have it.
So I know one of the questions was, what is my role in the district? And I'm kind of the last line of defense before things get escalated to the council. So I'm not quite a commissioner. I'm not quite on the district committee. My job is I'm the paid person to make sure that, you know, the district is functioning, that you guys have a paid person to go to. So I'm here to kind of spread the load. If there's like a scouting question that you couldn't get answered via the committees or via your commissioners, I'm here for that. And ultimately, I'm here for your unit's health. I'm also kind of the person to make sure that, you know, scouting's keeping in check, that we're keeping that scouting standard. So I'm not necessarily the police, but I'm also going to make sure like your unit's not going around like buying old military tanks and driving them down the highway. I'm that guy. Pretty soon, John and I and a few of the commissioners, this is kind of how it dovetails, are going to start visiting every single unit. You guys, some people have gotten an email from me, some haven't, as we're still working out some kinks. On top of that, I play a role in the council, so I get to chair a couple committees. So I get to work with Andrew with shooting sports. I get to help as the staff advisor. I staff advise the outdoor ethics, the Order of the Arrow, and then I kind of play it, but my primary role is in the district. I'm also your advocate and professionally going to council and to national meetings. So I get to say, hey, listen, this is actually what's going on in the Olympic district and what we need to advocate for. Does that answer your question? Forget who asked. I'm kind of trying to look over. Maybe I should scroll down. Maybe it was Mary. Maybe it wasn't. Hopefully you could hear me. Maybe that's another problem. Oh, heck
Oh,
yeah.
yes,
Thank you, Mary. I know what else to talk about. I'm a big pizza guy. And my office is at Camp Thunderbird.
Yes, we all invaded his office this evening.
Oh, it's not even me. It's kind of like, you know, if you want to come hang out, you
It's a
can hang
family
out.
hangout.
I'm about to go get a bunch of candy in there. So.
Anything else? Cool. Oh.
All right, we are done.
All right.
We will be closing the meeting now.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Hey, Mary, good to see you.
Thank you.
I know, she only saw my arm. I gotta wave over her. Hey, Mary.